What's up, you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on The Daily Grind, we're gonna have a little bit of a chat about the things that I'm the most cautiously optimistic about in the Jovian Concord. But before we do, we have a little installment of Rob reads you shit that you probably don't want to read yourself, because they published the Remote Observer Volume 60, and there are a couple items in there that we have not gone over that are going to be introduced in the Jovian Concord. So let's take a look at the more features section. What we haven't talked about much as the new features and fixes that are coming with the Jovian Concord. Have a look at some of these other upcoming features and changes to get an idea of what else is dropping with this latest update for the PC client. Huge UI reworks. Huge changes are being made to the market, syndicates, void relic, and end of mission screens to make information more readily available and easier to follow. This is to help people identify items that can be purchased with credits, give them more information of the contents of a relics, and giving a general facelift to older screens. Very excited about this one. Two-tone energy emissives. One of the biggest fashion frame changes was made to date, the inclusion of dual-tone colors for your Warframes, equipment, and fashion items. Warframe sentinels, weapons, attachments, armor, ephemera, etc., regalia, Syandanas, K-drives, and arcwings now all have double emissive color options, no forma required, and a double energy color option, forma required. So keep that in mind, the emissive, no forma required, and then the double energy color option, forma is required. Then they have gun spear fixes. We have made a variety of changes to better increase the way gun spears function within Warframe, with an increase in flight time across the board and several stat changes, including the removal of self-damage on the Javlock. Nice! Anything that will prevent me from dying is greatly appreciated. You will see some nice quality of life changes on these explosive polearms. I'm gonna have to give those a little bit of a test out after everything goes live. Eidolon bounties now grant standing. Ostron standing can now be gained by taking on Eidolon bounties. Bagging a Terrorist will gain you 1,000 standing. When snagging a Terrorist, Guanchalist, and Hydralist will gain you a whopping 5,000 standing. There are a lot more changes and fixes to be added to the list, and they will be included in the patch notes for the Jovian Concord when it releases soon, TM. As with any major mainline update, your feedback is invaluable. If you see bugs or want to give feedback on a feature, head over to our official forums, not the Reddit, to let us know. Then they also have a note saying that two-factor authentication, trading, and you. This is very, very important for anybody who does a lot of trading, because you're going to need two-factor authentication in order to jump into that. Trading and account security are big concerns of us in the community, so when the Jovian Concord releases, we will be implementing a change that requires traders, both parties, to have two-factor authentication enabled on their account. It's important to note that two-factor authentication on accounts can drastically reduce the threat of having your account hijacked and used for nefarious means. Bad actors and scammers will often use compromised accounts to trade illicitly with regular innocent players, and those interactions can have detrimental knock-on effects to player accounts. So there are some people out there that have issues with their accounts getting banned, and you're like, wait, what happened? This is one of those instances, so definitely be aware of that. We wanted to give you some incentive to use two-factor authentication as well, so if you enable two-factor authentication or you already have two-factor enabled on your account, you will receive the exclusive phase step ephemera delivered to your account when the update deploys. So make sure you guys go ahead and jump into that. If you would like to learn more about two-factor authentication and how to enable it, then please take a look at our two-factor authentication frequently asked questions guide to get started. I'll be sure to leave a link about that in the description box below so that you guys can jump into it and get your ephemera. Thanks for stopping by this latest episode of Remote Observer, and don't hesitate to drop by our official forums, not the Reddit, if you want to see more discussions. Now, this definitely adds a little bit more flavor to the updates, and one of the things that is coming that I need to address, because a lot of people have messaged me while I was on stream and they're like, listen, look at this! Is this not the greatest of all time? Yes, as you guys can see, they are actually adding a cleaner robot as a ship decoration. Now, this is actually what spurned this entire video. It's like, what are you excited for? And I saw this and I was like, y'all think I'm gonna be excited about this? A little robot that like zooms around your ship? I already hate clutter on my ship, and I hate freaking IKEA frame, so no, this is not one of the things that I'm cautiously optimistic about. I care nothing for, what is this, cleaning drone, aka domestic okay? That's a nada for me. Regardless, let's go ahead and jump into the things that I am cautiously optimistic about. Now, I keep saying that because you never know. DE always has this reputation of hyping something up, and then when we get our hands on it, it doesn't go as great. So first things first, the two-tone energy and emissives. Okay, there's a lot of things that DE could fuck up on this update. I don't think that this is one of those things, right? We get to have two different colors specifically on the Warframe itself for the energy kind of blends, and I'm really, really excited to see that. And having the control over, you know, what is the main color, what is the secondary color, and then having that blend. And then also, in addition to that, having a separate one for your energy color as well, like your ability energy color. That's absolutely fantastic, and I absolutely love that implementation because it gives us more control over Fashion Frame. And legitimately, while I have to say I would prefer content, this is one of those things that they just can't fuck up, because as you guys know, they have a very strong focus in visuals, but there's a big gaping hole when it comes to like progression, difficulty, loot tables. So this, one of those things they can't mess up. Moving along, the next one that I'm very, very excited about is actually Wisp. And I know that that's something that I've kind of rolled my eyes at the whole situation with Wisp. I'm like, I don't really know if I'm gonna be super duper into Wisp, if it's something that I'm gonna really care about. I kind of feel meh about the way that she functions, but you know what? I always say give it a shot. We'll see what happens. Look at that beautiful idle animation. Definitely into that. At least we know that we can add that to our Warframes and we'll get that bonus from there. Her first ability seems really wackadoo and wonky, but you never know. One of the things that they haven't actually chatted about is any kind of synergies that might go along with the rest of her kit, so I'm hoping there are more synergies in play than what we've seen so far. Her new third ability, I'm really interested in seeing how that plays out, if it ends up being a decent damage dealing tool. Now for those of you guys who haven't watched the video that I posted yesterday, I'll leave a link up there in the corner. Basically what it is she does this kind of like AoE ability that releases a breach in the area. Any enemies that are caught within that breach kind of like have this debuff. You'll actually see it right here. So as you can see, there it goes, and when enemies get caught in it, they're debuffed, and if you hit them, what'll actually end up happening is they'll release these little sparks. There's a chance to kind of like proc these sparks to deal damage, and supposedly it is all based on the amount of damage done. So it's almost kind of along the lines of a multi-strike, you know what I mean? It's kind of like you hit an enemy, but then you also hit another enemy. So that could potentially be really, really powerful, because not only is it CC, it's also very offensive. I love to keep my eyes out for those kind of things. So I'm crossing my fingers that it does turn out to be good, but at the very least, we can make her look pretty, right? We have new idle animations, and she's kind of pretty, and she's also another place for us to get some mastery in there, and I'm slowly creeping to mastery rank 28. I really need to bust my butt on getting my last board. Next up is gonna be something really like, you guys are like gonna look at me and say, this is number 3 on your list of things that you're excited about. But the UI rework, man, I don't know what it is, but it's one of those things that you don't really pay that much attention to as you're playing the game. But after you've kind of like customized and fashion framed your UI, you're kind of like looking for the pretty screens, right? In fact, when I was in somebody else's stream, I like noticed like the combination that they used of like UI. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So being able to have more screens that integrate the new UI, I'm very, very excited for that. But one of the things that I do want to point out is that they're actually going to have more functionality than they did previously. So you can actually travel directly, if you go into your syndicate screen, you can travel directly to Cimeris. That's the closest we're gonna get to a transport into the simulacrum kind of thing from your ship. So I'm like, okay, that's a nice little quality of life feature they've introduced. In addition, you're supposed to be able to refine your relics when you are actually in the mission waiting for the next round, which I think is pretty damn cool, because you could just sit there and you're like, oh wait, I just earned more of these little whatever, these little oh, what is it called, space milk? You know what I mean, the like cabbage milk that you have, and then you're able to go ahead and use that to refine your next relic, so that, you know, you might have a good chance at getting something that you really, really want. very excited for that one. And just the overall look I think is going to be good, and the things that they introduce alongside that, all of the utility, I'm definitely a big fan. And again, how bad can they fuck that up, right? Now, number 4 on my list is Disruption. So, Disruption is a new game mode, and it's the closest thing that we're gonna get to, like, content. Supposedly it's challenging. One of the big things that they definitely made note of is the better you are at it, the more you're going to be able to skip into the higher tier rewards. Now, I know that I've gone in the past where I'm like, I'm not really a big fan of scaling rewards as staying longer in a mission, and that's mainly because of the fact that it requires you to stay really long in a mission. And I don't like having to think, okay, well, you know, the drops will get better, you know, 30, 45 minutes in. I don't want to wait 30 to 40 minutes for the drops to get good. This is one of those things that's actually skill tested, right? If you're good at getting these, you're actually able to skip the A rotation or skip into higher rotations. They haven't given us full details on exactly how that's going to work, but I like the fact that this is skill based, not duration based. That's very, very important for me, because legit, I don't want to wait that freaking long to get to the good stuff. And being able to push forward in like that new kind of like, maybe we'll have more game modes that will be skill based, and the better that you are at it, the better the rewards are going to be. So I like the fact that they've got that in their head, instead of just like, oh, well, you're 40 minutes in, we'll up your rewards, right? So I like that approach to it. The only thing that I'm very, very scared, and this is why it's kind of like, I'm gonna be real with you, like, it all kind of starts to go downhill a little bit from here. But the thing that I'm most cautiously optimistic about, I'm hoping that they get the loot tables right. Because there is no point in introducing this game mode if you're not gonna give, especially a game mode that focuses on really good play to get better rewards, if you don't give us better rewards and don't give us decent drop rates for them. So as many of you guys know, especially if you're keeping tabs on me on Twitter or on Twitch, I have been farming fire feats, aka the Blazing Step ephemera, since ephemera has been released. And every stream that I've done has pretty much been dedicated just to farming that since it launched. So that's been a while, and I still have not gotten my hands on it because it is a 1% drop rate. Now, unfortunately, they said that they were going to take care of arbitrations first, then go ahead and bump up the ESO drop rates, and I'm just not patient enough for that. I'm like, I just want it now. So hopefully the drop rates for some of these rewards are either affected by the gameplay, like the better you are, the higher your drop rate is going to be, or it lets us get to the higher tiers and gives us a decent drop rate to go along with it. Can't wait to see these loot tables, but legitimately, if I see Endo dropping, I'm going to start rolling my eyes. Endo and credits, get it out of there. Moving along, we have... KD can't fuck up on this one. I said that it was going downhill, but this is also a really, really weird thing to be excited about. I'm excited about the Fey Path ephemera, okay? I've been hunting for my ephemera for so long that for them to kind of like introduce this Fey Path ephemera, and they're just gonna give it to us for 2-factor authentication, thank freaking God. And I really like the reason that they're kind of pushing forth the 2-factor authentication, because I've gotten a lot of Twitter messages before saying, wait, I got banned and I don't know why I got banned, yada, yada, yada. And who knows, it could have been an account that was compromised and used for like bad trading. And we've seen a lot of these things happen where somebody will get traded like bad platinum and they'll go into the negatives. So hopefully this will kind of cut down on it. Plus we get free ephemera. So, and think about it this way, ephemera you can put on every Warframe, so it doesn't really matter, right? What Warframe you're using, you're gonna be able to have it. Oh God, I'm talking too fast. Next on the list, and you guys are gonna be pissed, because I literally put UI reworks and an ephemera before this, but the Nyx Deluxe Skin. So next on my list of things that I'm excited about is the Nyx Deluxe Skin. It's really low on their list, mainly because of the fact that while I do think the skin is absolutely gorgeous, I just don't use Nyx. I really just I don't find Nyx fun to use. I know that there are a lot of Nyx fans out there, but me personally, I'm kind of like, the SANDR is alright, and really what pushes it up for me is the shotgun skin. In fact, I would put the shotgun skin above the Nyx Deluxe Skin, mainly because of the fact that I will actually use that shotgun skin as to where I will fashion frame Nyx, I will look at her for a good 20 minutes and say, oh my god, it's so pretty, and then I'll put her away. Because legitimately I'll probably be using Loki or someone else anyway. So it's really gorgeous, can't wait to fashion frame it, but again, pick it up and I put it down. Pick it up and then I put it down. Moving along, the next thing that I did want to address is the new weapons. The new weapons, we've got 3 of them right here. The Fulmin, which is the Wisp weapon. I'm kind of meh on this one. I'm like, whatever, let's see the stats because it's a cool kind of combo, but for me, I need to see the stats on this one because the mechanic on it doesn't seem that enticing. So for those of you guys who don't know, it's going to alternate between a silent shotgun and an automatic lightning gun. So we'll see. Seems kind of basic. The Cormorex is interesting because it is a sniper that fires off AoE like toxin stuff. Now, this kind of reminds me of the Devastator from Anthem. Yes, I still like Anthem, just so that you know. But it does remind me of Anthem, except it's not like an explosion. Instead, it's more like a gas cloud explosion. So, can't wait to see how that works out. But really, what I'm very excited about is the Cyanex. In fact, if everything was like the Cyanex, it would probably go above the Nyx Deluxe Skin. I'm just saying. If there was no shotgun skin, the weapons would have been higher. Just putting that out there. But this one is the one that has a ricocheting, homing projectiles that release small clouds of gas on impact. And then they decided to add the alt fire to release the remaining clip in a single burst, so they got Pandero in there too. That's like, there's so many mechanics in it that I'm just like, alright, please let the stats be good, because if the stats aren't good, you put really, really cool mechanics on a gun that I never want to use. So that's also why I'm cautiously optimistic about this one. Maybe it's a little bit lower on the list, because really, how could they fuck up on a deluxe skin? It's beautiful, it's wonderful. This, if they fuck up on the stats on any of these weapons, it's just like, alright, mastery fodder, moving along. Now, the next thing here is kind of a little bit more obtuse, I guess you would say, obfuscated, but I'm really curious to see what the lore is going to be like behind this. I personally don't like Alid V myself, but I really want to know exactly what the interaction is going to be with the Sentience and Alid V. Now, the reason it's so low on my list, this is number 8, is because of the fact that I'm kind of worried that DE isn't going to dive deep enough into what's going on, and maybe we'll get a couple lines of dialogue here and there. But I really want to know what is going on, why the Sentients have decided to collaborate specifically with Alibi. Like, why him, of all people, right? Like, what makes him so special that they're going to be cool with that? Because New Space Mom, that means New Space Mom is chilling out with Alid V. And I would like to know exactly what's going on between the two of them. Did she move on from her Orokin lover and is going to be humping all over Alid V now? I don't know. Spill the tea. I want to know about that side of the lore. I'm just worried that with DE, they're going to give us a sliver of the lore, and they're not going to address it for another, like, 6 months. We just go from content drought to content drought to content drought. You know what I mean? We just get these massive gaps because they want to work on something too big for their britches. Moving along. This one is actually very low on my list, mainly because of the fact that it's really disappointing. Okay. Ropalolist. Oh my god, somebody in the comment section had made note of how to pronounce it. Because I think Ropal is like a blind, it's like a bat or something. Ropalolist, I'm assuming is the way that you pronounce it. I was really hoping for this to be like a big challenging creature like in the plains of Eidolon that literally you would have to fight and it would snatch you up and it would fucking take you to a different part of the map and then your team would have to go and get you. Like, I really wanted it to be epic, but it just seems like it's gonna be another boss fight. Like it's gonna be another Spidolon, and a part of me is just a bit meh. Like, how freaking disappointing. I hope it does turn out to be a bit more difficult. A lot of people have been saying this is going to be the parkour boss fight, which I think could be interesting, because at its best, this is me being cautiously optimistic, it's going to be a fun fight. Will it be a challenging fight? Highly doubt it. But like I said, I'm being cautiously optimistic. It will be fun, most likely. They probably tuned it to be fun. To be challenging, not so much. So expect a lot of parkour. A couple people were saying it would be really, really interesting if all of the fighting of the Ropalolist was done off of, what is it called? What are the wires? What are they called? I forget what they're called, but you know, all of the wires that we kind of like can ninja run along. It would be really cool if the area that we're gonna be fighting it in is just all that. And that we have to jump from different wire to different wire. And that could be really cool. Again, fun, but if there's no reason to come back to it over and over again for, you know, higher tiered loot, for loot that actually matters, then there's no reason that we should really care about it beyond that. So fun, probably. Endgame, probably not. The last thing that I'm excited about, and I do need to put out some clarification on this, so this is number 10 on my list, are the new mod sets. The new mod sets just don't look that fantastic. I think that they look interesting, and interesting is always nice, but interesting is never something to base your entire build around. You know, there's niche builds that are high performing. I see these as niche builds for fun, but not necessarily for performance. The only one that I'm actually kind of interested to see exactly how it works is the Modus setup, which is the shotgun 100% critical chance and 100% status chance for 4 seconds after landing from a double or bullet jump. That one could be good if it's additive percentages, but to me, I feel it in my body that it's probably not gonna be, because that is 100% critical chance and status chance. The only thing that's in my head is it only lasts for 4 seconds, so it could be balanced if it requires you to consistently be jumping all over the place. There's also another one, which is the Proton Jet. During a wall latch, gain 50% critical chance and status chance. Great for Loki. Fucking fantastic for Loki. But if that's not additive, it's all going to be very, very weapon dependent. Other than that, we have the anti-grab array, which is the increased height of owner's jump by 40%. We also have the increased double jump strength, which is the Modus signal, and arrow vantage, which is reduced gravity and aim glide. Might work really, really well with both Zephyr and Wisp. We'll just have to see how that all functions. But beyond that, everything else is kind of like, I'm not going to use these sets. Like, I'm looking at them already and I'm like, there's nothing that I'm gonna use here that I feel like is going to be a staple. And I feel like whenever they introduce these things, they should have a couple things that could be new staples. And I feel like they don't necessarily lean in as heavily as they should to some of these mods. But that is my personal feelings. That's me being cautiously optimistic. There's some really interesting niche things there. So my list, just as a review, the number one thing that I'm really excited about is two-tone energy and emissives. Number 2 is Wisp. 3 is the UI reworks. 4 is disruption. 5 is the face step ephemera. Don't be mad at me. 6 is the Nyx Deluxe Skin. 7 are the new batch of weapons. 8 is the new lore. Hopefully they do us good on that. 9 is the new boss fight. And 10 are the new mods. So do me a huge favor and let me know what order you would put these down in the comments below. Let me know what you're the most excited about. Let me know what you're the least excited about. Put all of your feelings down in that area. But regardless, that about does it for me for now. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.